Good afternoon, everyone. I am Raksha Prajapati from Kirin Advisors. Welcome to the virtual roadshow of Taurian MPS Limited. Today, we will provide a brief overview of the company and its innovative business model. Taurian MPS Limited is an engineering and manufacturing company with a 14-year track record in industrial solutions. Company began with a focus on sand, aggregates, and spare parts for the construction and mining sectors and has since expanded into crushing, screening, and washing plants along with spare parts. It provides fabrication, assembly, maintenance, and customized solutions based on client requirements. From the management team, we have Mr. Yashwardhan Sumit Bajla, Managing Director. Good afternoon, Yashwardhan sir. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Raksha. Thank you.
And from Greatex Corporate Services Limited, we have Mr. Sumit Harlalka, Director. Good afternoon, Sumit sir. Welcome.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone.
Now I hand over to Yashwardhan sir to tell the journey of the company. Over to you, sir.
Raksha, you'll be showing the PPT or how will it go?
So if you want, we can start with the PPT, or if you want to add
Yeah,
something.
let's go over that. That will have the history and everything. Easiest.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so
So
I'll
we'll
give a
start.
little bit brief about the company. So the company basically it's a precision engineering manufacturing company. The products we make are basically crushing equipment, screening equipment, washing equipment, and conveying equipment. Now these crushers and all these equipments, where are they used? They're used effectively in two major sectors, which is the infra sector and the mining sector. In the infra sector, if you have to do any road building project, or if you have to do any construction project, whether it's a dam, airport, anything infra related, you need a crusher where you first crush the rock and then make it into aggregates, which are the end products used for construction. Similarly, these crushers and screening equipments are also used in the mining industry, where any ore I have to crush, whether it's iron ore, coal, manganese, silica sand, whatever it is, any ore that you have to crush, it again uses the same crushers. Now, what separates us from the rest of the market? There's very few players effectively in India that are able to make crushers all the way up to 800 tons per hour. We are one of the only players in India that are able to make crushers of that size. The balanced local market typically makes crushers of under 100 tons per hour. Our range itself starts at 150 tons per hour. Apart from that, we make some specialized machinery which is for manufactured sand, which is effectively a replacement for river sand. So that's another huge market which I'll dive into later. Apart from that, we are one of the pioneers in bringing hybrid technology to India. Hybrid technology is extremely important for bringing down the cost of operations, and that is one of the first of the company. We can go to the next slide. So a little bit about the management and the team. I'm the managing director. I myself am an industrial engineer. I have studied from the US, from Purdue University. Straight after I have joined the business, and I handle all things related operations, sales, marketing. I overlook everything. Then we have a chief of operations, Mr. Atul Hirawat. He handles. He's been in the mining and quarrying sector for almost 20 years, where they were running their own mines and quarries. In our company, he handles all things related operations, whether it's installing the plant to then operating the plant correctly and then providing after sales service for spare parts. So yeah, that's what he handles. And of course, since he's been in the industry for so long, he helps customers optimize their plants and things like that. Then we have Mr. Modi. He has a rich experience in the industry again. He's worked in mining for 20 plus years, and financially, he's worked in the finance sector for 30 plus years. He's our CFO. Then we have Mr. Papachan. He again has worked in manufacturing for 23 years, with 15 years specifically in our industry, and he's a veteran as well in this industry. He handles all things related manufacturing in the factory. Then we have Ms. Ghosh. She's the marketing head. She has worked with the biggest brands for in the industry, whether it's Sandvik, L&T, HUL. So she handles all things like brand activation or social media marketing. Things like that all comes under her scope. Next slide. So more in-depth detail about the team. Our team is quite experienced, whether even if it's our sales guys, whether you look at Ramdas Reddy, Samik Ghosh, or Kaustup, they all are 20 plus years in the field. They have worked at the largest MNCs. Similarly, Deepak Sahu, he's worked at HUL for almost 10 years, and then he's with us. So yeah, our team is quite well experienced, and that's what we're showing here. Next slide. Our manufacturing facility, it is located in Roorkee. We've been there since inception for almost 15 years now. And a factory is ISO certified and CE certified. Very few companies in India have a CE certificate, especially for our equipment, maybe only two or three, and we are one of them. And that's a major reason why we're able to export to countries like in Europe or in the US. So getting that C certification, I think, highlights the quality standards we follow and our ability to match quality standards around the world. To add on, a facility currently is at 110,000 square feet. We started off with a 20,000 square feet facility, and then eventually it grew to 40,000, then 65,000, and recently we added 45,000 square feet of shed space more. So yeah, we are constantly expanding and growing, and we can hope to continue on that path. Next slide. These are just some images of our factory. As you can see, our head office is also located in Bombay at Worli Poonam Chambers. And yeah, these are just some pictures of our facilities. Next slide. A factory is effectively segregated into two major bays, one being fabrication and the other being machining bay. After that, it goes into assembly. So the fabrication bay, what does it do? Effectively, a company buys the simplest raw materials and we try and do as much manufacturing and as much value addition in-house. So we buy raw sheets of steel, raw sheets MS, and then it basically gets cut in the factory, bent, welded, tacked, rolled, painted, whatever it is. Complete fabrication setup we have in-house itself. On the other bay, machining bay, over there we take raw castings of different metallurgies, obviously, and then those are also completely machined in-house to tolerances of about 30 microns. So yeah, those are the two main bays. After all the fabrication and machining is done, we then have an assembly bay where all goods are put together, stickered, XYZ, and prepared for dispatch. Apart from that, R&D is an extremely important process and important part of this company. Since we are in an industry where technology is key, R&D plays a big role. For example, not too many companies in India or in the world are able to make machines like this. In India, there might be about 3 MNCs making these machines and about 3 major Indian manufacturers making these machines. And the reason for that, quite simply, is each of these machines will take about 300 subparts and maybe 10-15 sub-assemblies to make a machine like this. So yeah, it's a highly technological product, and that is the reason R&D is extremely important in our company. It's been at the heart and soul of the company, and if you look at our history, it's quite rich with many firsts and many innovations which we brought to India, and we want to continue expanding and developing on that. Next. Brief overview of our milestones. So if you look at it over the years, effectively we've added new equipment, new crushers, new screens, new beneficiation equipment, and effectively the tonnages of these equipments have got larger. From 100 tons per hour, we've gone to 200, and today we have a range all the way up to 800 tons per hour. Something more to focus on is a new launch of the beneficiation range of equipment that was launched in 23. And straight after, we've also launched a conveying range of equipment in 24. 22 was one of the big leaps which we had in our company, where we launched hybrid track equipment. That is one of the first things, one of the first people to bring it in India, hybrid track equipment. And it brought down operational expenses for end customers by almost 50% in many cases. So I'll dive into those a little bit later when we get to the product slides. What is the vision and mission of the company? To put it quite simply, we want to be a pit-to-port partner in India. There's very few players in India, almost none in India, who are able to be a pit-to-port partner. What is a pit-to-port partner? A pit-to-port partner is someone who can assist you all the way from blasting the rock to crushing the rock to screening the rock, segregating the rock, washing the rock, beneficiating the ore, and then conveying it all the way to the port and loading the ship. So there's very few players in India, almost none, who are able to do this currently, and we plan to be one of those in the world. Next. Raksha, we can go next. Yeah. This is just an overview of the range of equipment we have. As I mentioned, we have hybrid track equipment, the Terra Track range. Then we have washing equipment, beneficiation equipment, which is the cyclo wash range. Then we have the Stack Max range, that is the whole conveying range. Equipments are basically the various types of crushers we have, and wheelers are mobile crushers again, which are mounted on wheeled chassis for easier portability and movement if projects are changing, things like that. Next. So in the crushing range, we have one of the widest ranges in the industry. R&D, as I mentioned earlier as well, is one of our main focuses, and we constantly try and solve the customer's pain points by innovating and providing new machinery. An example of that is a roll crusher that we've developed recently, or a high frequency screen that we've developed. So yeah, innovating and providing new machinery which targets the customer pain points. That's one of the main focuses of this company. Apart from that, as I mentioned earlier, the crushing range and the size that we have, that is extremely high, where there's only two competitors, local competitors, who are able to make machinery like that. So that requires a lot of technology, and not too many people are able to do this across the world. Next. Track mounted equipment, the TerraTrack range of equipment that we've introduced, the hybrid range, that was we were the pioneers in India for introducing hybrid machinery. Now, what is hybrid machinery and what is a track mounted crusher? A track mounted crusher is something that basically allow you complete mobility to go to any terrain and crush equipment. Additionally, they are rapidly deployable machines where they can be deployed within a day. Within a couple of hours, all you have to do is take it off the trailer, plug it into electricity, or pour in some diesel, and you'll be crushing within a few hours. Where are these type of machines used? Now, these type of machines are used in all projects where I need to set up my project either immediately, or whether if I have a road project and I'm constantly moving every 60 kilometers or 10 kilometers with the road, there I will set up a track mounted crusher. The reason being, if I don't keep moving my crushing site, my transport cost itself will skyrocket. So track mounted equipment is extremely important in that. Additionally, there are areas which the government mandates you cannot set up stationary crushers, like maybe near riverbeds. Over there, if you're mining for boulders and crushing, again, over there you need to set up these type of crushers, as you're not allowed to set up stationary crushers. Furthermore, in large mines, they often set up track mounted equipment, as the terrain is so unstable that they are constantly also moving around the mine, and they have to move on uncertain terrain. So that's where these equipments are used. Now, why is our equipment, track mounted equipment, hybrid equipment, special? If you simply look at it, prior to 2020, maybe there weren't too many companies or any companies that were providing hybrid machinery to the market. Prior to this, they were using diesel. Now, what is the cost of diesel? Now, the cost of diesel, take it at 100 rupees. Two track mounted equipments will take a combined of about 50 liters per hour, and you run that for 2000 hours. That's going to cost you a crore rupees in a month. Similarly, the same equipment, when it's running on electricity, it'll take maybe 400 kVA at electricity rate of about 6 to 7 rupees. Same thing at 2000 hours will cost you maybe 48 to 50 lakhs. So we were able to create huge savings for our customers, and that was a big jump in revenue and orders for the company for track mounted equipment. Next. These equipments are also used inside the industry, inside the cities, for projects like construction demolition, where basically once you do demolition, you then reprocess that waste, crush it down, and reuse it at the site. So they also match the strictest standards of noise levels and emissions, things like that. Coming to the washing range, the beneficiation range, this type of equipment, there's a huge demand for it and growing demand for it recently. The demand for this has come from a great extent for the replacement of river sand. So river sand is already banned in many places in the country due to the ecological damage it causes to riverbeds. Now, if river sand has been banned, there has to be a replacement for it, obviously. Now, where is the sand used? Sand is used in things like cement mixes, where you're building a large building or you're building roads. All of that requires cement. So basically, what we are able to innovate and provide to our customers is basically you take a 1 meter boulder, crush it down using a crushing plant. That 5 dust that you had, which was waste product earlier, that is now washed and manufactured sand is produced, which is then sold in the market at a very, very high rate, at a high premium actually now, higher than aggregates. So yeah, manufactured sand is something that we have recently got into. The similar type of equipment is also used for upgrading ore quality. Now, today, maybe take 15, 20 years ago, the ore quality of iron ore at the surface was about 65. Today, even if I go down 100 meters, I dig deep 100 meters, I probably will not get iron ore at a quality of 65. I might get 60, 58, something like that. So the equipment we provide, it basically then removes contaminants, removes unwanted material, and it upgrades the ore quality so that miners are able to sell a higher grade of ore and increase their top lines. So yeah, it's used for mainly two purposes, which is upgrading ore quality, removing contaminants, or things like manufactured sand, plaster sand. Next. This is the most recent range of equipment that we launched, which is the conveying range. This is used for very large scale operations and large scale mines, where basically if I'm transporting thousands of tons per day from my pit to the port, I will need something that is extremely efficient. The existing methods that exist are trucking. Basically, I will take thousands of tons of coal, and it's not feasible to transport it in a truck. So for that, you need conveyors which are almost 3 kilometers long, 4 kilometers long, 5 kilometers long, whatever it is. So that is something we have developed now. This type of equipment is also used at places like ports, where maybe you're ship loading, and for that you need conveyors that are both radially moving, telescopically adjustable to load the ship. So yeah, that is the range we have developed now, the conveying range. And this range, all in all, allows us to become a complete solutions provider where we are providing all stages of any mine's requirement. To add on to this, very few players in the world are able to manufacture equipment like this. There's maybe three major players, and local players also, there are pretty much none. So yeah, we hope to be one of the leading manufacturers for this type of equipment as well. Next. These are a couple of pictures of some plant installations we've done. You could see some track mounted machinery, some crushing machinery, washing. Something I didn't come to is waste recycling earlier. Another industry that we serve is waste recycling. Our machines are currently being used in municipal waste dumps, whether it's like Dionar or anywhere you'll see. Basically, there's a lot of municipal waste which is mixed in with plastic, clothes, XYZ. So, using our machinery, these dump sites are able to segregate the mud and the plastics, and they are then able to put that mud back into use the mud as compost effectively, and the plastic is used for like cement plants. So yeah, that's how it is. Next. So our order book. So our current order book is around 43 crores. Something interesting about the breakup of 26 and 16 is that now we're at an export blend of about 35 to 40%. A previous year, we were at an export blend of under 5%, where we did only about 2-3 crores in exports. A major reason for this push was that we did large exhibitions in India and across the world, where we were then able to attract a lot of dealers. We now have dealers located all across the world, all of Latin America, Portugal, Brazil, Angola, Russia, Oman, Saudi. So yeah, a lot of regions we have now appointed dealers. Some of these dealers were dealers for the largest brands in the world, namely Metso, Sandvik, Terex. And using that, we've been able to crack a lot of orders. Something additionally quite interesting about the export orders is the margins in exports. Obviously, we are pricing at a 10% premium in exports, and that's adding to our bottom lines. Furthermore, when I'm talking about an order book of 43 crores, this is an order book where I have at least 20% advances. I'm not considering orders which are just POs without any advance. These are orders which I have to execute within 45 to 60 days, as they mentioned on the PO. So yeah, by October end, we expect to execute this amount of orders. For the current financial year, we've already done 30 crores, and by October end, we are expected to do 30 plus 43. To add on to that, by the year end, we are expecting about 140 by just continuing on the current rate that we are on. Raksha, am I audible right now? I'm not sure. Your Wi-Fi seems to have gone out, or either mine has gone out. I am not sure if everyone can hear me, so I'm going to pause for a minute until I get Raksha's notice. Okay, so I will continue. So yeah, so the current year we are expected to hit about 140, just going at the current rate that we're on. The year after we are expecting about 300, and the year after about 500. We can go next. So as I explained earlier, these are some of the countries that we now have a presence in. Is just a little bit about that. We can go next. Oh, actually, go one slide back. Currently, our presence is in a very few states, and we've mainly chosen states around our factory in Uttarakhand. And we have now started entering both the south and the east. We've appointed sales teams in those regions, and we will now target those regions much more strongly. We've already clicked orders from both the south and the east, and those are huge markets which we plan to continue growing in. So domestically, whichever markets we've entered, we've already got significant repeat orders, and revenues in all those regions have increased significantly. So yeah, we plan to explore more regions now in India, which we still haven't explored. Next. Again, this is just an overview of our dealers worldwide and where they are. One key agreement in this is Plus Natural Resources. They are like a large EPC contractor, EPC and engineering firm actually, much like L&T in India, where they work with like large mines and things like that. We have formed a partnership with them where basically they were trying to enter India, and since we've already working with some large mines, they wanted to push their products into those mines and their services in those mines. And since we have an entry already there, we are supporting them in that. Apart from that, for some of the equipments they make, some conveyors they make, we have an agreement now where we will manufacture their equipments in India. They were existingly manufacturing them somewhere in Brazil, but we now have an agreement with them for India. Additionally, similarly, they work with large scale mines like Vale and things like that, and they are going to provide us entry into those mines and push our equipment in that. We also have an agreement with them for the regions of Brazil, Portugal, Angola. Yeah. These are a few of our partners. As you can see, we are already working with most of the large infra players and mining players in the industry. For example, Jindal and L&T, we are constantly supplying them every month, something or the other. Tata is where we've provided equipment in the past. Global Atomic and Rusal, Somida, these are new additions to our list recently. And something interesting about them is they're one of the, like, if you take Global Atomic, for example, this is an international client. They're one of the biggest uranium miners in the world. And recently we clicked a large order with them with goods expected to ship in the next 15 to 20 days. I think the order value with them is almost around 4 crores. So yeah, that's a huge client we've added. They're one of the largest miners in the world. Similarly, we've added Rusal as a client now. They are, I think, associated with LN Mittal, and there was a company called Tega existingly supplying them ball mill liners. It's one of the only listed companies in our sector in the industry, and now we have also become one of their customers. We supplied them liners, and yeah, we've continued growing the relationship with them. Similarly, Somida is again mining, one of the largest customers, largest miners of uranium in Africa, and our materials are supposed to reach them again in 15 to 20 days. So yeah, these are all orders again, people we've clicked orders with, we've delivered orders, and something again interesting about our orders is none of our material goes on credit. Every order is either backed by an LC or by a bank demand order. So yeah, all our material goes completely without any credit. Next. This is just a general industry overview. To break it down, to simplify it, there's effectively three large players in the industry who dominate the industry. They've dominated it for maybe the past 30, 40 years. To name them, it's mainly Metso, Sandvik, and Terex. Each of these companies turn over $5 billion a year, and they are also the largest players in India currently. We can go to the next slide. So the same players which I mentioned in India, Metso, Sandvik, Terex, they turn over together about 7 to 8,000 crores. Apart from that, there are three local players, Propel, Puzilana, Hailstone, with Propel, Puzilana turning about 1,800 crores themselves each, and Hailstone turning around 250, I believe. So yeah, the balance market is about 5 to 10,000 crores. 20,000 crores is what we expect the full construction equipment market to be. And as you can see, most of it is dominated by very few players. And the reason for that, again, as I come back to it, is it's a technology-driven and R&D-driven industry where it's not easy to make a crusher. For example, if you take even an excavator today, in excavators, very few Indian companies are able to make excavators. You'll either see Tata Hitachi, which is a partnership. You'll see Kobelco, you'll see JCB, you'll see Caterpillar, and most of these companies are companies from outside. Reason being technology. So yeah, that is a similar type of industry we're in, where technology is super important, and very few people are able to do what we do. Next. This is just a comparison between Taurian and Tega. So the reason, even though Tega is not exactly a direct competitor, they are more into spare parts and wear parts and critical spares. They are one of the only listed companies in our space. So just to provide you all an example, we've given the example of Tega. So Tega, as you can see, has similar stats as us. Obviously, they're much larger in size. And to give you a little brief, I believe they're trading at a P of about 60, and I believe we are offering it at somewhere at 16, 16, 17. So yeah, that is just to give you an idea of what this industry is like. As for demand, there's enough demand in this industry where they're growing at a rate of about 8 to 10% constantly, and it's a rising demand. So yeah. Next. Yeah. So this is a revenue split of the products. Most of our revenue, a great chunk, comes from crushing and screening. One thing which we wanted to do, as I mentioned earlier, is diversify our range and increase our range. And for that, we launched the washing range of equipment. The range of washing equipment has picked up quite nicely. And every mine where we are now, we've started cross-selling our existing product line. Wherever there's a crushing screening plant, our customers are now adding washing plants to those sites. Additionally, if you take a look at the market in general, since it is moving so much towards sand and beneficiation, most of the new plants that we sell are including a washing range of equipment. So the average order value size has also been increasing in that sense. Yeah, next. Furthermore, an interesting addition over here is spare parts. Now, why is spares interesting? The lifetime of a machine that we make is about 10 to 15 years. In those 10 to 15 years, a customer will typically require at least 5 to 10% in spare parts every year, with that growing over time. As the machine gets older, maybe they'll require 15% of that plant value in spare parts. So that is a major source of revenue for us, and we expect that to continue growing as we keep adding on new plants every year. Something more interesting in spare parts is that often in spare parts, you're sometimes earning margins of 80 to 100%. So that is a very nice addition to our bottom lines, and we want to continue growing that. Next. Yeah, so a little bit about just our numbers. The current year, we've done 73. FY25, we did 73 crores with a PAT of about 9.5. The year prior to that, we did 39, 37, 39 with a PAT of about 11 crores. The reason for that difference, of course, I'll discuss that actually in operational, the PAT slide. We can go to the next slide. Next slide again. These are the cash flow statements. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah, so this is the slide I was referring to. If you take a look at this slide, you can see a PAT typically lies around 13 to 14%. I'll explain a reason for the dip and a reason for the difference as well. So the current year we did 73 with a profit of about 9.5. The year prior to that, we did 37 with a PAT, operational PAT of 5.84 and an asset sale of about 5.75. So yeah, a typical PAT lies around 13-14%. The PAT on sale of assets is the office sale. We basically took all of that money and put it back into the business to improve cash flows and then achieve the revenues that we've achieved this year, as you can see. The reason for the dip in the PAT this year has basically been because we invested a lot in R&D. We entered new markets. Whenever we enter a new market, you'll obviously sell your machine cheaper. The moment you sell a machine in a region, you jack up your prices by 10-15%. So that is what we have done. In existing markets where we've already been, we've already got a lot of repeat orders. You can take an example of Maharashtra, where we've done almost 35 crores, I believe, of revenue this year, which is a jump all the way up from 10 to 15. Similarly, in Rajasthan, we've increased revenues. So the only reason for the dip mainly has been R&D and entering new markets. We can go back up a bit if they want to see the balance slide, which I skipped earlier. Yeah, so this is just a more in-depth review of what I was talking about right now. We can go next. This is just the same thing again. We can go next. Again, this is just cash flows. Most of our ratios, as you can see, are getting better every year, whether it's debt equity ratios, inventory turnover ratios, debt coverage ratios. Currently, we only have a debt of 9 crores on the company, a bank CC of 9 crores. And apart from that, there's a leased machinery of about 60 lakhs. So those are the only debts the company's been growing with. Mostly we've been growing with internal accruements and our own investments. And this is we basically don't have too many limits right now. We've now applied for greater banking limits and also capital from obviously the IPO. The reason being, the only reason that has been hampering our growth is cash flows. I'll dive into that more in the use of funds. We can go next. Next. Uh, Business strategy, as I mentioned earlier, our main strategies for growth, which we want to focus on, I'll break it down into two ways: domestically and internationally. Domestically, internationally, in general, this industry and our specific machines grow a lot based on word of mouth. Uh, a crusher does not run inside a closed shed or inside a building, inside a factory. It runs in the open. It runs in a quarry where there are at least 30, 40 other people crushing the same stone from the same quarry. Over there, there'll not only be my crusher, there will also be the crushers of my competitors. And once my crusher performs in a zone like that, it simply just grows by word of mouth. And that is evident in our sales state-wise. Whichever region we've entered, we've always continued to grow in those regions. So yeah, simply we plan to now enter more states and continue servicing the existing states. The new states, which I mentioned earlier, was basically the south and the north and the east. Those are large markets which we haven't tapped yet, but now we have. As for exports, we plan to continue appointing dealers. That has been tremendous growth for us, and we plan to target highly experienced dealers. For example, a dealer in Latin America has been the dealer of Terex, a $5 billion company, for almost 20 years, I believe now. So yeah, we plan to target more experienced dealers and grow via that method. Next. General SWOT analysis, as I mentioned, our strengths, we've shown our ability to innovate and develop new products, our ability to target the customer pain points before our customers, and basically provide better solutions. Uh, Additional major strength to this industry obviously is proprietary technology and the difficulty of companies to enter this market. Many large engineering companies have tried entering this market and have failed. I'm not sure if I can name them in a meet like this, but if you'll do some research, you all can see large engineering companies who have failed inside the sector. Major opportunities that lie are obviously the untapped markets of the south and the east, which we haven't entered. Additionally, export markets have been a huge boon to us. Not only are they adding revenue, but the PAT margins via these exports are going to significantly improve. Over here, I also would like to talk about the only threat being basic infrastructure slowdowns or mining slowdowns. So yeah, we do not foresee too many threats as such. In the past 10 to 15 years, we haven't seen too many slowdown, and we expect the markets to remain the same. Next. Just certifications, as I said, we're a CE certified company, and that is extremely crucial for exports, and very few companies are. Next. Yeah, so coming to the use of funds, as you can see, most of our funds are going towards basically cash flow. We want to meet our working capital requirements. 22 crores of the funds being raised are going to go towards working capital requirements. Uh, Quite simply, if you take a look at our working capital cycle, it is about 3 to 3.5 months, and we're able to turn over money 4 times a year. Um, Basically, how is a crusher made and how much time do we have to deliver a crusher in? We typically deliver a crusher in about 45 to 60 days. To deliver a crusher in 45 to 60 days, I will have both long lead items and short lead items. A casting item, typically I will have to order it 1.5 months, 2 months prior to my casting person. He will take 1 month to prepare the casting. After that, my facility will take at least 20 days to machine the item. Then we come to the balance part, which is the fabrication. That typically can happen within the 45 to 60-day period. And that is a major reason why we have a cash flow crunch. Apart from that, what is the cash flow going to be used towards? Uh, Basically, provide the machinery even faster. We want to target to provide the machinery to our customers within the month, within 25 days. And for that, we want to keep more machines prepared and ready in the factory. Currently, we are also buying raw materials much more expensive than we have to. The reason for that is we take credit from our even steel suppliers. We are not currently buying directly from the mills. We are buying from traders, maybe in Ghaziabad and Delhi. Typically, steel would cost maybe 47 rupees currently. We're currently buying at about 53 to 54. Reason being, we get maybe 3 months credit or 2 months credit. Similarly, even things like motors, nuts, bolts, things like that, prices are almost some in some cases 10 to 15% more expensive as well. So we expect our purchase costs, our current costs are about 55 to 58. That's what they fluctuate. So we want to bring it down to a standard 55, 54, 53, and we can expect savings in the bottom line or increase in the bottom line pat of about 2-3% just from purchase. Additionally, providing equipment to customers in a timely basis earlier than expected, like track equipment where they need to set up a plant within 5 days or 2 days. We need to keep equipment ready in the factory. So yeah, that again is going to add up to our top line, where maybe if you deliver immediately, you get an additional 2-3%. So yeah, that is our working capital requirements. Balance funds, 2 crores we're putting towards R&D. In that, we're again purchasing a CMM machine mainly, which will be to ensure things are machined and toleranced properly. Additionally, the machines for 6 crores, those are mainly machines. There's no infrastructure development as such. Our facility already can go all the way up to 450 crores. We're currently only at 15 to 18% utilization with one shift. So mostly that money is going to go towards CNC machines to improve the quality of the machining. Next. This is just issue related information. Sumit, would you like to handle this? So this is just issue related information. We are doing a completely fresh issue, and yeah, that's about it. Next. The amount we're raising is 42.53 crores at a post money valuation of 151.9, and you can see the P ratio of 16.15. Next. Prior to this, the only capital we've raised was 5.5 crores in the pre-IPO round, and that's about it. The issue, I believe, is going to open on the 8th for the retail investors, closing on the 10th, and for the anchors, I believe it opens on the 4th. Yeah, that's all from my end. Sumit, if you have anything to add, apart from that, feel free to shoot any questions, and we'd be happy to answer all of them.
Thank you, sir, for walking us through the presentation. Now we will start with the Q&A session. I request all the participants to post your questions in the comment box. Here we have the first question from Aditi Menon. What is the Taurian's core business philosophy and long-term vision?
Quite simply, our core business philosophy and long-term vision is to become a pit-to-port partner. That is what we want to be. We want to be a complete end-to-end solutions provider for our customers. Currently in the world, there are very few players who are able to achieve something like that, namely Metso, Sandvik, FL Smith, Terex. India quite simply does not have a player like that, or even most of Asia does not have a player like that. And we want to be someone who our customers can rely on and provide an end-to-end solution. So yeah, we want to build something really big, something where all Indians can be proud of. Yeah.
Next question, please. Here we have the next question from Bharti Agrawal. How has the company's leadership shaped its growth trajectory?
I think company leadership has played a major role, but apart from company leadership, I think it's a lot about the team we have. I wouldn't say it's a person-centric organization; it's a system-centric organization where we're not dependent on one head; we're dependent on five heads. If you look at our management, every person in that management team has experience of at least 15, 20 years, specific to our industry. So yeah, leadership, I would take it as a question of top management. Yeah, they've all played a big role in growing the organization and the organization under them as well. Yeah,
Next
that is the
question.
reason why we've been able to do so much R&D and expand into so many different sectors successfully. It's pretty simply good insights and good execution.
Okay. Next question, please. Devesh Purohit, what role do your manufacturing facilities play in enabling scalability?
The current facility we have, I think we are already able to scale to about 450 to 500 crores in those existing facilities. Most of the infra is already done, and as I said, we added 40,000 square feet more recently. The only thing which we plan to add in those existing facilities this year is about 6 to 7 crores, and maybe in the future again, maybe 6 to 7 crores again just on machinery. Currently, we are also running only one shift. The reason we're not running more shifts is because of working capital requirements. There are plentiful orders and demand in the market. Currently, I'm not taking an order under 10 to 20% advance from my customer. So the moment we have greater working capital, we'll be running more shifts in the factory and scaling significantly in the existing facility we have.
Okay. Next question, please. Next
That was
question we have from Chaitali Deo. Diversification has been central to Taurian strategy. Could you highlight the importance of diversification for the business?
Uh, I think the answer to this is a main line of business is always going to be extremely key to our strategy going forward. Crushing and screening obviously is going to be an extremely important part of the business going ahead as well. Of course, there are sectors like washing, which is growing significantly. We can see that from internal market insights ourselves. Most of the plants that go out now go out with washing equipment, and that is a sector that's growing extremely fast. Apart from that, we have continued diversifying, and conveying is a new range that we've added. Reason being, again, we saw great opportunities there where customers like Terex are providing stackers, for example, radial horizontal stackers at very high pricing at a port, the one Jindal operates right now. So that is something we wanted to enter in. Similarly, heat bleaching operation was something where we saw great opportunity, which was related to conveying. So eventually, we want to provide more and more solutions related to the whole spectrum of mining and aggregates, mineral processing, and whatever that entails, we will plan to add on. Whether it is digital twins, whether it is digital services, whether it's AMCs, OMCs, whatever it is, we want to try and capture the whole realm related to mining and aggregates, mineral processing in general.
Okay. Next question, please. Abhinav Verma, Taurian operates in crushing, screening, and washing equipment. How do you differentiate your offerings from established multinational players in this sector?
I think more than established, you could consider us to be an import subsidy to a great extent. The machines we make are in quality quite similar to the standards they have achieved. If you look at the market and how it's developed over the years, looking 10 years back, a lot of these machines were mainly coming from the MNCs. In the past 5 6 years, if you see, the 3 4 Indian companies that I mentioned along with us have significantly been growing much faster than those MNCs and continue to eat their market share. So yeah, that is what I continue foreseeing. Additionally, if you take the pricing of an MNC plant today, if you assume it to be 100 rupees, something like the local competitors, my main two large competitors in the south, which are doing about 1800 crores, they are pricing at somewhere around 70 75. Then the second one is pricing about 65. I'm currently pricing between 60 to 65. So yeah, the goal obviously is to continue closing that gap and matching the technology that they have. In terms of automation or digital, whatever it is, I think our companies are already catching up extremely fast, and it's just a matter of time. Uh, a testament to that is quite simply looking at exports. Today, I'm able to export to so many different regions of the world. Reason being because the quality of our equipment is good. It is very good, and India is going to be a major exporter of these type of equipments.
Okay. Next question, please. Next
Mining and
question is from Mr. Deepak Mehta. Mining and infrastructure demand can be cyclically how resilient in Taurian's business model during downturns?
I think infrastructure can definitely be cyclical to a great extent, where there might be government pushes to build more infra and things like that. Mining obviously is less cyclical because these mining also determines a great part of the energy use of the country for things like coal. Apart from that, steel, which is a major part, so mining will be less cyclical. Infra obviously will be cyclical. The ways to combat that obviously are to diversify yourself and offer equipments which don't depend only on mining and infra. For example, our equipment is now going into things like waste processing. That is a major sector which we see to grow. Apart from that, we want to diversify by not just depending on India, but grow our exports to at least 50% of our revenue coming from exports. So yeah, that is a major way forward which we plan to continue growing and be, you could say, uh, downturn resistant. Yeah.
Okay. Next question, please. Aditya Singh, what percentage of revenue comes from after sales or service contracts compared to new equipment sales?
Currently, the revenue from after sales service and spares comes at about 5 to 6%. We believe that to rise up to at least 8 to 10% quite easily year on year. And as I explained, as equipments get older, their spare parts need greatly increases. But yeah, I think 8 to 10% is something which you can expect soon. Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason and the ways which we want to increase uh, our percentage of sales from those regions is obviously by stocking more spare parts. Stocking more spare parts. So if a customer's plant is down, I can provide it to him within 24 hours, keeping warehouses near him or stocking at his site. Uh, those are things which we've already done in regions like Rajasthan, Maharashtra, where at existing customer sites, we stock our spare parts and then offer it to other players in the region as well. Only thing is obviously we have to stock more, stock better. Apart from that, things like the service contracts would be AMC, OMC contracts. We haven't explored those completely yet. We took up a few contracts, one being in Poonch, for example. And in that, obviously, it's a very stable revenue, not only from the per ton basis that you earn, but from the spare parts sales mainly. Because if a plant is under a spares contract with us, an OMC contract, they buy all spares from us. So that in those cases, your spare parts usage of that plant can rise all the way from 10 to 15%. So yeah, those are things we plan on scaling on soon.
Okay. Next question, please.
Which
Ashwin
geography?
Rao, which geographies or industry segments are expected to drive the next phase of growth for Taurian?
I think for geographies, I'll break it down domestically and internationally. Domestically, obviously, we've only mainly been in regions around our factory. One major reason for that, obviously, is we're the only player in the north making machinery like this. Our three major competitors are in the south. So that has created a nice market for us where we're able to serve markets like Rajasthan, Maharashtra, MP, Uttarakhand, Gujarat. All those regions we're able to serve them nicely already. Sectors which we haven't entered and have entered only this year to a great extent are the east, where there are large mining operations going on, and we've already clicked orders over there for an iron ore operation, I believe. Similarly, in the south, we have now entered the south. The south forms a major part of the market, Indian market as well. So that is where we see the growth coming domestically. Internationally, obviously, the region we've already clicked, we've already got very strong responses of orders back from them, almost to the point where we're not able to keep up. Like Russia, we sent, I believe, a high frequency screen, and we've already got demands for two more. Similarly, we supplied five track plants without even them exiting the port. We've already got a PO for one more. So the existing markets of Latin America seem to be very strong for us. Russia seems to be very strong for us. Saudi seems to be strong for us. For other equipments like Beneficiation, over there's a huge demand for glass currently. For glass, you require things like silica sand. So those are regions we expect to grow. In Africa, we haven't broken in to a great extent yet. Reason being, our machinery hasn't reached there yet. Some equipments have reached, and simply as our equipment reaches there and people can see it, yeah, we expect that region to grow a lot more as well.
Okay, next question, please. Next question is from Mr. Vishal Agrawal. How much of your equipment is custom engineered versus standard product lines?
So this is a mixed answer, I would say. All our equipment is standardized equipment. When you look at a cone crusher, when you look at a jaw crusher, when you look at a screen, when you look at a roll crusher, you look at a high frequency screen. These are all equipments. Equipments are sold as they are on the brochure. They do not change. What changes, however, is things like flow sheets. I might not provide a jaw crusher of maybe 200 tons per hour. I might provide a jaw crusher of 250 tons per hour. Or I might provide a different type of jaw crusher, the way it crushes the rock. I might choose a different type of cone crusher. So things that change effectively are flow sheets and how material moves along a plant. Additional things that change are things like conveyor length, whether I want to do a larger stockpile, whether I want to recirculate material, what are my end products. So things like that change. Fabricated items like hoppers, feeders, conveyors. Equipments, however, remain standard. And the reason for that obviously is I have to service this customer for 10 to 15 years. I cannot expect to build 30, 50 different product lines and then continue stocking spare parts for all of those, obviously. So, yeah, that is how it is.
Okay. Next question, please. Tanya Pillai. How do you ensure product reliability in tough mining environments?
So this is, I think, not a question specific to either mining or aggregates. The equipments you provide typically in mining or aggregates are typically the same machinery. They don't change specific to mining. Whether I'm going to use a crusher in iron ore or whether I'm going to use it in aggregates, it remains the same. Only thing that typically change in mineral operation versus aggregate operation is the size of operation. And in mining operations, typically the crushers are much larger. To improve reliability, obviously we have internal QC checks, and I think a validation of that is our certifications. We are an ISO certified company, we are a CE certified company, and very few companies are able to achieve that. Additionally, I think the pudding is in the numbers. Quite simply, if you look at markets we've entered and look at the year after, we've simply grown. And as I explained, the only way to grow in this market is if your machine performs in that quarry where everyone else is there. If my machine fails, I cannot hide. The same way, if my machine performs, they cannot hide it. So that is the only way to prove our reliability.
Okay. Next question, please. Tene Pillai. How do you balance capital intensive equipment manufacturing with maintaining healthy cash flows?
Currently, we do not foresee too much of a cash crunch, obviously, mainly because most of our capital that we're raising is going to go towards just cash flow activities. Capital intensive manufacturing, obviously, we have to stock a lot of casting items and things like that. The year henceforth, however, if you look at it, most of our money is being raised through internal accruals. I think we currently already have a cash flow of about 30 crores. And as I mentioned, just with those cash flows, we can turn those over 4 times to hit about 120 with just internal accruals. Additionally, with the profits we get this year, we again plan to reinvest those mainly towards, again, capital healthy cash flows. Additionally, we do things like take credit from our suppliers, and with larger volumes, obviously, we'll get better credit there or better rates there. Additionally, we take advances from our customers. We take a 20% advance from our customers before manufacturing starts. So, yeah, things like that. Moreover, to dive into it, to improve cash flows, companies do AMC contracts, OMC contracts, and spares, as those are cash flows which are constantly recurring and constantly adding to your cash flow. It's not dependent on a single sale then from that side. So yeah.
Okay. Next question, please. Vikram Sharma. Are you planning to diversify into allied equipment categories beyond crushing, screening, washing?
We have thought about product ranges. Specifically, we had considered the RMC market, for example, but we did not decide to go forward with that market because it's highly competitive and we do not foresee the margins to be too much. So yeah, we will definitely foray into markets wherever we see there's good opportunity, where there are entry barriers and where we believe we can use our expertise to provide a solution to a customer. So yeah, we do plan to diversify as and when needed as demand for that sector increases. And in our existing range itself, the crushing, screening, washing world is it's wide. Today, I might have 20, 30 different types of crushing equipment. My screening range is smaller. My washing range is even smaller. So you can get more and more into each of these ranges, increase their product availability, for example, their range. For example, the frac sand market, we recently developed a machine for that. Now, even though it comes under the washing category, it is a whole different sector itself. Now, frac sand is something which is used for mining oil operations. Basically, you take frac sand, you pump it down into the ground, create cracks, and then it's used in oil. So yeah, there's sections to this. One would obviously to be including completely new categories, and the other would be to develop the existing categories as well.
Okay. Next question, please. Suresh Kulkarni. Equipment
Stretch.
businesses usually run with stretched receivables. How disciplined is your working capital cycle and what's the average receivable period?
I'm not sure exactly about the average receivable period, but I know that all our orders are backed either by an LC or by a bank order. So pretty much the moment we supply the last nut bolt to the site, we are immediately dealing not with the customer but with the bank. So that is not a problem we are facing too much. Uh, as long as it's backed with a reputable bank, which usually we only work with reputable banks, those are not problems we face. Additionally, for that's a domestic market I'm talking about. Similarly, in the export market, those also work mainly on LCs. In an LC, it works in a similar way where the moment I ship goods out of my factory to the port, I receive the money before the equipment has even reached site. So that is how it typically works. Receivables, stretch receivables, you could see in scenarios like large EPC contracting companies like L&T and Jindal. Typically, they are not too bad with their payments, and typically we get payment from them within 75 days for things like spare parts and things like that. So yeah, we typically only give it to customers who we can rely on and expect money to be on time, because we are a company that is obviously cash crunched.
Next question. Rohit Patel, are you investing in indigenous tech and R&D to reduce reliance on imported components and patents, or do you still depend on foreign designs?
I don't think this applies to us too much because imported components are under maybe 0.1% of our purchases. Most of our materials are sourced locally from India, and we have existing suppliers in India. With regards to R&D and tech, again, we have a good, trendy R&D and design team inside the factory itself, and almost all of our designs are developed by us. So only additional help we get from the outside is sometimes with our partners like NR Plus, where they're able to optimize our designs for certain applications. So most of our R&D is still done indigenously. Only in specific applications like in uranium, they were able to provide us some insights. So things like that.
Okay. Next question, please. Pranav Chatterjee. Exports can look attractive top line wise, but they are margin enhancing once logistics and compliance costs are considered.
The numbers I was providing to you are after baking in the logistics and compliance costs. So even post baking the logistics and compliance costs, we still earn about 10% more margin on export orders. The reason for that simply is if you take a machine outside, for example, a Terex, I shouldn't name, if you take a machine outside India from the MNCs, we are almost at a pricing of about 45-50% of the pricing globally. So there's enough margin for us to bake in the logistics and compliance costs. And obviously, when a customer is placing an order, those things are considered prior to the order being placed. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to compete so easily with MNCs.
Okay. Next question, please. Vedant Shetty, what percentage of revenue comes from repeat clients?
I don't have a number on this specifically. However, we do have a lot of repeat customers in Maharashtra where they've bought no, some customer with 3 plants, some customer with 2 plants. Similarly in Rajasthan. So yeah, we have a decent repeat order rate currently, but I don't have a specific number on it. We can come back to you on it if you can share your details with the team or whatever that is.
Okay. Next question, please. Next question is from Chandan Singh. With top 10 customers contributing 78% revenue and no long-term contracts, what ensures repeat orders and protects against customer attrition?
Often when a customer gets tied to you, they try and stick with you, and we've noticed that in Maharashtra and Rajasthan, the key markets where we've grown significantly. We've had a lot of customers where they have placed repeat orders. With regard to long-term contracts, the only way you can have a long-term contract as such is if you do an OMC or an AMC. Apart from that, obviously, when you have a single plant of say 3 to 4 crores and the plant lifetime is 15 years, they're not going to order a plant within the next year itself. That plant is obviously going to pay for itself, and then maybe after 4 years, the customer orders another plant of a higher TPH, and that is what we have typically seen. So yeah, the only long-term contract you could say with them is that yeah, they still will require critical components from us, spares from us for those 10 to 15 years.
Okay. Next question, please.
With inventory
Will
days,
in inventory days at 203, what are your typical customer versus supplier credit terms, and how will you improve the cash cycle post IPO?
so typically, a customer is a mix of both corporate clients and contractors. A major part of those clients are nowadays contractors. If you take a look at the large mining and infra companies, they typically don't invest too much in the crushers themselves. If you take a look at L&T, they try and provide it mostly to their contractors. So contractors have become a large part of our customer list, even though they're supplying mainly to the big EPC contractors themselves. Apart from that, obviously, large mines and large infra companies also directly buy our equipment. Like Tata Steel, for example, is someone who we're working with currently in Canada, and we're quoting them currently. L&T is someone we work with directly. Jindal Stainless is someone we work with directly. So that is our typical customer. Apart from that, supplier credit terms is I believe, typically 2 months in some cases, 3 months in some cases. So it depends supplier to supplier how much credit we get. And for a main raw component, which is steel, I believe that is about 2 months where they give us credit.
Okay. Next question, please.
And how to improve the cash cycle post IPO? The way to improve the cash cycle post IPO, obviously a large part of that is going to be spare parts, OMC, AMC, things like that.
Okay. Has the company started in-house manufacturing of key components, and what all raw material is still being imported and from which country?
Most of our manufacturing is completely in-house. That is the name of the game in our company. We try and do as many things as possible in-house. So yeah, you could say only things like raw steel, castings, motors, belts, pulleys, things like that are bought from outside. Those are things we don't plan on manufacturing even in the future, and continuing down this path. Which countries do they come from? Most of it is India, like 99.9%.
Okay. Next question, please. Sumit Power, what sector-specific tailwinds are driving growth opportunities for Taurian?
Uh, Sector specific tailwind, you could say, yeah, the infra sector is doing well currently. That has been beneficial. Mining sector relatively remains stable over the years. It doesn't fluctuate too much. Too much. Like, okay, currently it is doing slightly better. You could say that is beneficial. Uh, a nice sector specific tailwind, you could say, which will be more of a trend across the world that you can see, is that river mining is banned across the world. Specifically in India, soon all states we expect to adapt policies like that, and that will significantly increase demand for washing equipment. One, yeah, I think those are the main sector specific tailwinds that we see. Apart from that, you could say that, yeah, the investment towards exploration and mining has significantly increased, where a lot of new mines and a lot of rare earths are being discovered, and we could see some growth from sectors like that. Apart from that, waste processing is a sector which we see growing rapidly. Municipal waste has become a problem which every city is dealing with currently, and there's large stockpiles in almost every state when they're not able to process waste to a great extent, and it's being stockpiled. So yeah, that is a sector we see growing. With regards to infra and mining, we see steady growth, nothing crazy.
Okay. Next question, please. Next question is from Sensing. What were the terms and how was shareholder value protected versus reinvesting in core business or debt reduction?
I am not sure what this question exactly means. If you would like to rephrase it, or if Sumiji has a better idea of what this question means, he can target that. But in terms of debt reduction, we don't really have too much debt. We've always had a 9 crore CC limit, not taken on more debt. Only other debt we took on was to bring on two leased machines, which is 60 lakhs of debt. So the way we see to protect shareholder value is to basically grow our exports, grow our PAT, grow our bottom line, and that is what we've been doing.
Okay. Next question, please. Services and spares are high margin segments usually, but in our case, service revenue has decreased significantly in current FY. Can you please share any insights into this business strategy?
Right. So there was a slight switch in strategy in the services segment. One thing was that we did put a temporary pause on OMC AMC. As I said earlier, that we did have OMC AMC. We felt we did not have a capable enough team at the moment, or enough time at the moment, to develop that OMC AMC team. So that was a decrease in services. Apart from that, you could say this is an accounting difference. Earlier, services were accounted for even with the installations. Currently, what we are doing is basically we are sending our service engineers for free to the site, where the customer basically, if he orders spares, we provide free service. So that, you could say there's an increase in revenue in the spares and a decrease in revenue in the services. So, and we want to continue going down that path even in the future, where basically we are offering our service engineers for free and instead earning money from the spare parts side. And to ensure that customers do not abuse this, we basically make them say put down, what do you call it, a deposit of say 10,000 rupees, which then gets readjusted against the spares order. So yeah, that revenue will basically be reflected from now on in the spare parts.
Okay. Next question, please. We see that there's a sudden spike in the revenue because of new segment, which was milk process in FY25. Almost 30 to 40% revenue is coming from that segment. Kindly elaborate on future strategies.
Yeah, so I think we did around 25 crores from the milk processing segment. This was mostly via our JV partners, NR Plus. So basically, they got us the deal where we were manufacturing equipment mainly for them. We are not sure how much this sector will grow or be a future revenue for us, but that will be slightly dependent on them, and we will see how that grows. Now, why were we able to be a player in milk processing was also because the equipment we make is often used in milk processing as well. So washing equipment contains something called hydrocyclones, Those are basically similar equipments used in milk processing. Apart from that, screening technology is again used in milk processing. Only difference is equipments are made using stainless steel and they're much lower powered. So yeah.
Okay. Next question, please. Abhinav Verma, thank you for your prompt answer. Also, all the very best for the IPO.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. All the very best for the future.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
I think we have covered majority of questions. Thank you, Yashwardhan sir. Thank you, Sumit sir. And all the best for the IPO.
Thank you. Thank you, Raksha.